All right, let's talk about avocados, that wonderful fruit that we all love immensely. Is it healthy? What are my experiences with it over the years? What about fat percentages, essential fatty acids, problems, benefits? Let's get into it. So, as most of you probably know, for like 6 years now, almost 7 years, I've been eating a mostly raw food diet based on fruit. High carbohydrate, pretty low in fat, and I've been having a good time doing so. I love it. I love it. It's done so much for my health. During the years, though, I've experimented quite a bit, obviously, up and down in terms of fat intake. Now I'm experimenting with protein intake and other supplements as well. And when it comes to avocados, I've had a fair bit of experience. I've had a long period of time where I ate avocados every day, and I've also had long periods of time with no avocados. First of all, avocados. They're a fruit, certainly, and they taste amazing. I mean, a good avocado, oh my god, it can be so good. And I'm here on La Palma, one of the Canary Islands, and the avocados here are off the charts, okay? They're just ridiculous, okay? They're so good. And so I must say, from a taste perspective, I absolutely love avocados. Not too much though. I mean, I prefer sweet fruit. If I'm hungry, and I've tried this in the past as well, and I guess this is one of the challenges with avocados, because they're so high in fat and low in carbohydrate, they're not very satiating, you know? Carbohydrate is satiating, whereas fat gives us a lot of calories. It's very calorie dense, but it's not very satiating, you know what I mean? Carbohydrates though, that's where it's at. So if I'm hungry, I prefer to eat like mangoes or bananas, something sweet, and then maybe I'll have a little bit of avocado as well. As I said, I tried eating just avocados one time to see, would it satiate me. I ate about 1,000 calories worth of avocados. It was in Cairns, Australia. And afterwards I was just like, I need something more. So yeah, they're not the most satiating fruit in that sense, but certainly very tasty. Now, let's talk about, let's just get into fat percentages first. In my experience, human beings thrive, in my experience and my knowledge, human beings thrive on a high carbohydrate diet based around sweet fruit. Okay, we're better off if we keep our fat intake fairly low, maybe around between 5 and 15% of total calories. That's what I would say. And let's not go any deeper than that. Lately I've come to think that we probably should keep it above 10%. So somewhere between 10 and 15 is probably better than 5%. I'll get into that in another video. So from that perspective, avocados can certainly be a part of a healthy diet, as long as you don't overeat on them. So depending on your activity level, 1 per day, probably enough, right? Some people can eat a little more. Some people should probably just eat like a half of an avocado, because they're very calorie dense and which is fine, but they're very high in fat, and sometimes it can just be a little bit too much fat. It's going to mess up your blood sugar regulation. It's going to your insulin sensitivity will go down, and your blood sugar won't be as stable as on a lower fat diet. So that's one of the challenges with the avocado. Then when it comes to essential fats, omega-3, omega-6, as probably most of you know, there's omega-3 and omega-6 and omega-9 even in all whole foods, all whole fruits even. And ideally we should be getting them in a 1-to-1 ratio, omega-6 to omega-3, 1-to-1. If you're getting too much omega-6 though, the conversion of omega-3 to DHA and EPA, which is essential fatty acids that we need, the conversion in your body from ALA, which is what you're getting from the fruit, to DHA and EPA is not as efficient, which is why reducing your intake of omega-6 is a good idea if you want to maximize your conversion of ALA omega-3 fatty acids, which is why the avocado is a problematic food, because the avocado is really high in omega-6. So if you're eating an avocado a day, you're just messing up that balance completely. Like it's very difficult. I cannot see how you would maintain a good ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 while eating avocados. So that's one of the reasons why I pretty much stopped eating avocados. I mean, they're just out the window for me because the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio is just so off. Of course, you could sort of make up for that by eating a lot of chia seeds or something like that. And probably it's a good idea to eat some chia seeds anyway, get some extra ALA. But avocados, yeah, they just seem to be very counterproductive in that regard. Now, for a long period of time, I was eating avocados every day, and long story, super short, I was having some heart issues. It's not really related to the avocado at all. I got them after taking a vaccine against rabies. I'll link to the video here if you're interested. So I got that vaccine. I started having these extra systolic beats, which was really annoying. But these extra systolic beats almost served as a gauge for me on how certain foods triggered certain symptoms in my body. So sometimes I would get more of these extra systolic beats depending on what I was eating, sometimes not. And I noticed whenever I was eating avocados, I was getting more heart issues. So for me it was a little bit difficult when I started realizing that it might have been causing me some issues, and I was like, oh shit, do I really have to cut out the avocados? And then I knew the thing about the essential fats, of course. I was aware of that, and I was like, oh yes, I should probably just not eat them. And then I started thinking about it. Okay, avocados, they're pretty strange. I mean, obviously they're just one out of a lot of fruits, so we wouldn't be able to, in a natural setting, eat a lot of avocados like every day necessarily. And they're fatty fruit, which is again unusual. Most of the fruits we're adapted to eating, and the chimps, what they're eating and stuff, are sweet fruits. And so the avocado is sort of an anomaly in that sense. No animals, almost no animals eat avocados. In fact, they're deadly toxic to a lot of animals. Most animals, if they eat avocado, they can die. And then I learned that there's a certain substance in there. Right now I can't even remember what it's called, but you can look it up, avocados toxic, whatever, and you can read about it. And we humans, we can tolerate that substance, but still though, I was thinking, okay, maybe we can tolerate it, but maybe it's still doing damage, who knows. And so I just went ahead and I eliminated avocados from my diet, and my heart got better, and I think I felt better too. I still think I do feel better without avocados, and I've gotten used to not eating them, and now they're basically not on my menu. That being said though, I sure do eat some avocados now and then, and now I'm here on La Palma, sure, I'm gonna have some avocados. They're just so good. So it's not like I worry about having an avocado now and then, but I would advise you, and this is what I'm doing as well, to not consider avocados a staple. If you want to have some avocados now and then, go ahead. But if you want to have good omega-3 to omega-6 ratios, you want to have a good nutritional profile, you want to avoid the potential issues of eating avocados. Who knows? Maybe science doesn't even know yet what avocados does to us. Maybe there's a big problem. Maybe not. Who knows? But I wouldn't take the chance personally. I tend to avoid them. That's basically my conclusion. So that's my little spiel on avocados. They're an interesting fruit for sure. I'd love to hear your comments about avocados. If you post them down below, do you eat them? Do you think it's a problem? Do you have noticed any issues from eating avocados? Are they perfectly fine? What, tell me all about it. I'll get into fat in another video soon. I want to talk a little bit more about fat intake, because eliminating avocados from my life meant that I was now down at a very low fat intake, around 5% of calories, even 4%, because I'm eating so many bananas, and I don't tend to eat a lot of nuts and seeds. So where do I get my fat? We'll talk about that in another video. And just at the end here, I want to say, just like with any food or any statement made by anyone, including me, don't just take it as truth. Experiment, and realize that there are pros and cons to everything, and some people work better with some foods and not with other foods. And although we all have a species-specific diet, which is a tropical fruit diet, there's a lot of variables to consider, and it's difficult to just say don't eat avocados or eat avocados. But anyway, I hope at least now I've been able to educate you a little bit, share a little some of my thoughts about avocados. Maybe now you have a better perspective on them, and you can consider whether or not you think avocados should be in your diet or not. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos coming up on these topics. I'm having a lot of changes happening in my life for the last year now in terms of diet, and I intend to share it with you little by little as the months go by. Feel free to send me any questions you may have by email if you go to our website, sweetnaturalliving.com. We also got a bunch of articles there you might want to check out. You can even sign up to our newsletter that we send out once a month. Hope you're having an awesome day. See you around.